Hi, I'm Sandra and welcome to Cooking and Crafts. I have a wonderful show planned for you today. We're going to start by showing some ways to entertain people at your house. We're also going to cook a delicious recipe, something sweet, something dessert. I'll keep you in suspense about it. And then we're going to wrap things up talking about babysitting 101. Do you know kids that sometimes come to your house or you have to stay with, and we'll give you some great ideas for them. Join me back in just a second and we'll get started.
Hi, I'm Johnny Miller at your Western Sizzlin' in Ooltewah, Tennessee and Dalton, Georgia, and I can tell you that infomercials work. We've been advertising monthly to reach our customers for over 17 years now, and I know that you can reach your customers as well. You can depend on Elliott Media to take care of all your advertising needs, and remember, Western Sizzlin', we're your family steakhouse.
When you're in the market for a new or scratch and dent appliance, Langford Appliance is the place to come. We're a locally owned business for over 30 years serving this area. Don't let your dollars go out of town. When you buy your appliances from Langford, your money stays right here in Dalton, and you can always count on us for the best service after the sale. We have a large parts and service department for all your appliance repairs or plumbing and hot water needs. Come see us when you're in need of any appliance. That's Langford Appliance at 319 North Glenwood Avenue in Dalton.
Hi, I'm Sandra back again with you, and I can't wait to get started because I think I've got some really good ideas to show you. Have you ever had friends over to your house and you just want to have something simple or something to eat and you go, what am I going to do? Well, I've got some good ideas for you, and I hope you can take these and use them. A buffet is probably the best way to serve people food at any kind of gathering. You put the food out, all you have to do is get it there, put it on some kind of tray, dish, utensil, and they serve themselves. And I think it's really simple, and all you have to do is keep the dishes full. If you possibly can, put it on a table that people can walk all the way around. Of course, here I'm on an island and it's already set up that way. But if you don't have this facility or this island at home, maybe you can pull your table out, and that way you can start a line on both sides, and people tend to get through just a little bit faster. What you want to do is have your guests know where they start. Have you ever been somewhere and you go, well, do I start at this end? Do I start at that end? Where? So you want to really put out the plates and the napkins so your guest or your family will know, ooh, I need to start down here and I'm going to go that way. So put you a stack of dishes. It can be paper plates, it can be paper napkins, anything. You know, your dishes don't even have to match. Just get what you have and don't go buy anything. And like I said, you don't have to have cloth napkins. You can have paper napkins. You can have paper towels. It really doesn't matter. I found something really cute to decorate is just take a glass. It could have a stem on it. It doesn't have to have a stem. Put some fresh flowers, or if you don't have fresh flowers, artificial ones, in the drinking part of your glass and turn it upside down. Don't put the water in it, just put the flower in there. And it makes a little sort of festive looking thing, and you didn't have to go out and buy anything. I've seen even people put flowers up here, or you can put candles up here, and it adds just a little bit more to it. If you're looking for a great way to serve things, get a mirror. Just take a mirror, make sure it's clean. You can put something on top of it if you want to. I don't. And just put your finger foods here. Of course, you wouldn't want to serve anything in there really runny. You would want to serve something that's pretty stable. And it gives a really good reflection, and sometimes people don't use this. So it's just a little twist and makes stuff look a little bit interesting. I found this at a local store, and it's just a plastic container, and it has little forks that stick in it, and I can put my food already in it. These are just little bite-sized pieces of cheese or grapes, or you could put anything on it. You could put meatballs, or you could put ham, or you could put vegetables. And all the person coming by has to do is just pick this up, and they've already served themselves. Also, when you're doing your buffet, it's nice to have just a plain plate with a spoon. Like if your guests are going to serve themselves out of this dish, what do you do with a spoon? And this is a nice place to rest that. It doesn't get the sauce or the gravy all over your tablecloth. And sometimes if you leave the spoon in here, somebody knocks it over and it goes everywhere and it causes an accident. So those little plates placed here and there, they're really useful. I bet you're wondering, how in the world did she get these on different heights? Well, I'm going to show you. I just took some books, and I just have different heights of books, and I put them under my tablecloth. And you can put them here and there and put your serving utensils on it. Now, you want to make sure that whatever you've got in the food, that your book underneath is going to support it. You don't want it to be wobbly and people come by and the whole thing crashes down. Also, I found out these little doilies are cute. You can get these in a pack. They're very cheap. They're paper. You put on top of your plate. It adds just a little pizzazz to it without costing a lot of money. At the end of the buffet, I would put my plates, my forks, my knives, my spoons, my glasses. If you tend to put these up here with the plates, everybody going down the line has to hold a napkin and a plate and something to drink and a knife and a fork and a spoon, and they leave it, they drop it. So I like to put those utensils at the end of the line. So again, I put my plates and napkins up here where they know to start off. They come on down, they get their food, and then right before they go sit down or go outside to eat, they pick up their knife, fork, spoon, and then sometimes it's nice for you to have maybe an assortment of the beverages maybe already fixed, or they could be behind me in the sink and ice staying cool. And then they just pick up those things and they don't have to worry about, I don't have enough hands to hold all these two. One other tip that I find is really, really helpful is if you have some dish that you don't have a lot prepared, maybe that of this appetizer or this food, you have tons. So if people tend to get it and it's gone, you can replenish it. But let's say that this container, this dish, this casserole, you only have one of them. Put it at the end of the line. Because sometimes when people start out, they get a lot of this food first when they start out. But then at the end, their plate's full, or they think, oh, I don't need anything else, and they might just get a little bit of this dish, and you'll have enough to go around for everybody at your party or your snack or your meal or whatever. So I hope you've enjoyed some ideas, and the main thing is don't stress over it. People are going to love it. They're going to just love coming to your house, and they're going to love anything that you prepare. I mean, you could just have a cheese sandwich. It's really not all about the food and the decorations, but it's about what it makes it comfortable for your guest. They can come in, find where to start, get their food. It's simple. They can get their drinks, and they can go sit down, and then you can have a good time, and you won't be up doing all this stuff in the kitchen. You can talk to your family and friends. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and then when we come back in just a second, I'm going to show you a great cookie recipe that you can serve at some parties when you have friends over at your house. So I'll see you in just a bit.
When the diagnosis is cancer, you want the best. Advanced surgical, radiation, and chemotherapy treatment, all available under one roof, a center large enough to treat advanced or complex cases. A dedicated team of physicians, nurses, and therapists treating each patient the way they would want to be treated. It's all here at Hamilton Regional Cancer Institute. Hamilton Medical Center. Your health is our mission.
Have you ever wondered why you cannot achieve a flat tummy like you had when you were a teenager? In spite of exercise, it seems like you're getting nowhere. It could be that you've had children and it's just impossible to achieve without having surgery. With a procedure called an abdominoplasty, we have specialized techniques that can repair the damage that has been done with the pregnancy or the weight loss. We can help you to achieve a flatter, tighter tummy like you had in your younger years.
We are this close.
We're this close.
We are this close.
Of wanting to
making history.
This close to changing the world.
We are this close.
This close. This close to making sure no child suffers a crippling disease
ever again. This close.
We are this close to ending polio.
Ending polio.
All we need is you.
This close.
If we don't act now, we may lose this chance forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolionow.org.
Hey, I'm Sandra, and I have a delicious recipe to show you. I'm going to do coconut macaroons, and if they could get any better, they're going to, because we're going to dip some of them in chocolate. So this is an easy recipe. It's very simple, and your end product turns out wonderful every time. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm making just like an abbreviated version. I'm going to sort of half the recipe, so you won't see me have tons and tons in my bowl, but I'm going to give you the ingredients for a full recipe. So just sort of, follow along if you want to write the directions down, but my amount will be a little bit smaller than what you're going to have. You're going to start out with a whole pack, which is about 14 ounces of coconut. I get the kind that's not frozen. I just get it like in the grocery section where the chocolate chips are found and all the baking products. So go ahead and put your flake coconut, and this does have a little sugar in it, and go ahead and put it in your bowl. In there, you're going to add 2/3 a cup of granulated sugar. That's the kind of sugar that you sweeten your iced tea with. When I cook, sometimes I like to go ahead and stir a little bit as I go. That way, when I get everything in, I'm not stirring and stirring. I just sort of have it mostly mixed up. But however you do it's fine. I like to mix it with a fork. A wooden spoon's fine, a spoon's fine. To me, the fork just sort of, and the coconut mashes the things together. You're also going to put 1/4 teaspoon of salt, just like regular table salt. You're going to have 6 tablespoons of flour. I use self-rising flour. Plain all-purpose flour would be okay, because you're just going to have enough to sort of hold it together, so you really don't have to worry about it rising. You're going to put let me look at my recipe over here, 1 teaspoon of almond flavoring. And I'm just going to eyeball this. And almond has that wonderful smell. Actually, to me, it smells a little bit like cherries. And I'm just going to stir this up. And the last thing I'm going to add are egg whites. And you're going to add 4. Here's one that I already have measured or broken out. You won't really measure egg yolks, but. And then this one, I use an egg separator. I just have an egg separator. To me, this is the easiest way to do this at home. Just put your egg separator over some kind of bowl. It's got like a little lip on it, so it's not going to fall down in there when you put your egg in it. Break your egg. You want to aim for the center. When you crack your egg, don't put your thumbs through it, because you will tend to pierce that membrane and your yolk and everything will run through. And if your yolk runs through, you need to start all over, because you're not going to get that separated. You can actually have a scrambled egg with it and don't have to throw it away. When you separate it, your yolk's going to stay here. And I like to put my yolk in a separate bowl, and you can save this. In this recipe, you're going to have 4 of them. So you'll have 4 egg yolks. Run just a little bit of cold water on the top of it to cover it up, and then you can put it in the refrigerator. I usually would put saran wrap on it or put it in a Ziploc bag. If you don't put the water on the top of it, it tends to dry out. But you can use those egg yolks for something else. You can put them in scrambled eggs. You can put them in a casserole. You can put them in a meatloaf. So again, for your part of the recipe, you're going to put in 4 egg whites. And then this is the fun part. Let me get that out of the way. Is just mix all this up. And you know, when you start, you think, is that going to be enough liquid in there? Because your only liquid is your egg whites and your almond flavoring, which is not much at all. But yes, the answer is you're going to have plenty of liquids. Just remember, do not put the yolk in. You want to separate your egg whites. This is sort of a meringue kind of cookie. That's sort of what macaroons are. You also want to go ahead and turn your oven on. You want to go ahead and preheat it, and you want to put it to 325 degrees. These cookies really don't need to cook in a very, very hot oven. The only thing that you really want to cook are those egg whites. And look how easily that was to mix up. You don't need a mixer, you don't need a blender, you don't need anything except your trusty fork. I like to go ahead and get it out. Move my egg over here. And you want to have some kind of cookie sheet or a baking sheet. I went ahead and put parchment paper on mine. I love parchment paper because your cookies don't stick. You don't have to worry about spraying it. You don't have to worry about when your cookies come out of the oven that they won't come off and they break to pieces. So what you're going to do is get 2 spoons. I just get tablespoons or teaspoons that we eat with. And when you drop your cookies, make them all about the same size. If you have one small cookie and one huge cookie, they're not going to cook. One's going to be burned, the other one's not going to be done. You can put these cookies sort of close together because the size you see here is about the size they're going to be when they come out. They are not going to get any larger. I like to tuck the edges underneath because sometimes if you have little sprigs of coconut coming out, it sort of gets burned before your cookie gets done. So you're going to go ahead, and when I drop cookies, I like to put them in a row. When I first started cooking, I just drop one here, put one there, put one here, and I found out that I couldn't get a lot on my cookie sheet. Well, then it took me years to realize if I will go ahead and put them in order, or not in order, but in a row, I can get twice as many cookies on there. So you're going to go ahead and finish dipping and dropping the rest of these. And of course you want to use all of your ingredients. If you're cooking and you leave half of your ingredients or something in the bowl, not only can you have, or you could have had that to eat, but you tend to waste your money because cooking is rather expensive. So I'm going to pop this into a 325-degree oven. It takes around probably 20 minutes for these to cook. They're going to get just a little bit of golden brown. And this is what your finished product is going to look like. Now, to dip the chocolate, what I did was I just took some chocolate that comes in a bar like this, melted it in the microwave, took my cookie, dumped half of it in, and you could leave some chocolate covered or coated. You could leave some of them without because your guests may like chocolate and they may not. This is a wonderful recipe. They look great. They taste even better. And I hope you go home and make these. I'll see you back in a minute and we'll have another wonderful segment.
Hi, I'm Johnny Miller at your Western Sizzlin' in Ooltewah, Tennessee and Dalton, Georgia, and I can tell you that infomercials work. We've been advertising monthly to reach our customers for over 17 years now, and I know that you can reach your customers as well. You can depend on Elliott Media to take care of all your advertising needs, and remember, Western Sizzlin', we're your family steakhouse.
When you're in the market for a new or scratch and dent appliance, Langford Appliance is the place to come. We're a locally owned business for over 30 years serving this area. Don't let your dollars go out of town. When you buy your appliances from Langford, your money stays right here in Dalton, and you can always count on us for the best service after the sale. We have a large parts and service department for all your appliance repairs or plumbing and hot water needs. Come see us when you're in need of any appliance. That's Langford Appliance at 319 North Glenwood Avenue in Dalton.
At Hamilton Medical Center, your health is our mission. It's why everything we do is with you in mind. It's why our associates and physicians are constantly advancing their skills with education and training. It's why we're reaching out into the communities we serve to improve the health of all residents. It's why we're ranked in the top 3% of all hospitals in the U.S. for overall hospital care, based on independent research conducted by CareChecks, a division of Comparian. Hamilton Medical Center. Your health is our mission.
Have you ever heard the term, your eyes are your expressions, the windows to your soul? But when your eyelids look tired and they start to sag, it will make you look much older than you actually are. There is a simple surgical procedure called a blepharoplasty or eyelid tuck, which can help to rejuvenate and redefine the contours around your eyelids. It will even improve your fields of vision, and a portion may even be covered by insurance. We can help redefine how others see you.
Hey, I'm Sandra, and thank you for joining me for this last segment in our show today. I have some really good tips to show you about staying with children, or I guess babysitting. All of us know some child in our life. It could be a relative, it could be our own child, it could be some child we go to church with, somebody that lives next door to us, one of our friends' children, and you sometimes find yourself having to stay with those kids and you love it. And I'm going to give you some little do's and don'ts and some things that the next time you do have to stay with the child, you're going to love it and they're going to love it and you're going to have a great time. I find out that if you get some kind of bag, it can be anything you have at home, and put some of this stuff in it. Like if you go to church and you stay with a group there, or the child comes to your house, you just pick up this bag and everything's in it. And they love going down in it and exploring and seeing what's next, because it's just like Christmas. If you have any kind of balls, it doesn't really matter, footballs, baseballs, basketballs, they could be sort of small and sort of squishy. And we're looking at children that are older, maybe 3, 4, 5-year-olds. Even 1-year-olds may enjoy some of these, but probably for a little bit older child. Just remember that kids love to read, or they love to have people read to them. When my daughter was younger, I remember her doctor saying, kids that are read to, usually as they get older, they're going to have a really good vocabulary. And my daughter now loves to read. Her vocabulary is wonderful. And I really think that was due to all the reading we did for her. So you can never have too many books. And you can get an assortment. And sometimes you can find these on sale, and you can stuff those in your bag. All kids like to color. I like to color. I think it's fun to get it out and sit at the kitchen counter and color some things. If you find some markers, and I would suggest that they're washable, so if they do get them on their skin or their clothing, they're going to come off. It's fun to get them out of the pack, but if you can find something a little unusual that looks like something, that's a great thing for them to pick it out of. A pack of crayons is wonderful, and I found something that they can reach a little bit better. Just get you some styrofoam, stick the crayons in there, and they love to take them out and color and then put them back in there. When you're also coloring, you can expand their knowledge by saying, hand me the yellow crayon, hand me the blue crayon. How many crayons do we have here? Let's count. And you can incorporate counting into that too. It doesn't just have to be about coloring, or it doesn't have to be about your coloring. You can make your own coloring books. I just got some white computer paper, punched a hole in it, I did some ribbon, and I am a terrible artist. So what I did was I got some cookie cutters. I already had them at home, and I got some of the big ones, like the gingerbread man, a bunny rabbit, a butterfly. Everybody loves a heart. And I just traced them on the paper. And you can sit down with the child and you can start coloring. You could even spell their name out, or you could do numbers maybe 1 to 3 or 1 to 5. Just remember, when you have younger children, you don't want to give them a lot of choices. Like the colors, sometimes those 64-pack of crayons are overwhelming for me. So if you only pick out a few and let them choose from there, it gives them choices, but they're not too overwhelmed. So cookie cutters are wonderful. After you use them, put them in the dishwasher, wash them up, no sharp edges, they're not going to get cut. And you know, maybe they could even trace the shapes themselves. That would be something fun to do. All kids love stuffed animals, so you can find a stuffed animal that they could hold while they're coloring or you're reading to them, and you could keep all this in your bag. Your stuffed animal, every once in a while, put it in a pillowcase, run it through the dryer. The dryer at that hot heat will kill the germs and things on it, and that way it's always safe and it's always really sanitary the next time the same child uses it or a different child uses it. Just remember that anytime you do have children in your care, your number one priority is safety. You never want to let them do something by themselves. You always want to be there with them. You never leave them unattended. If the doorbell rings, of course, you want to take them with you. Let the phone ring. If you can't get to it, you can call that person back later. But you know, staying with kids is really a lot of fun. They're just very smart people. They're just really short, but they're very smart. Sometimes they outsmart me. The last thing I want to talk about is some kind of foods you can have for them. Here's a plate of foods that are pretty questionable. Grapes, popcorn, any kind of nuts, and I have peanuts here, or hot dogs. These things are tough for adults to eat, and sometimes adults get choked on these things. So I would say if you have choices, that might not be the best thing to give children that are in your supervision. I do know if you have hot dogs, you want to cut them into smaller pieces than what I have, but I would probably go for something else, maybe some kind of cheese or something that they're not going to get choked on quite as badly. Here is a plate for the do's, and this looks good. I think I want to eat it myself. Bananas are always great, and if you slice them up, they tend to look just a little bit fancier. Graham crackers are also wonderful, and then of course any kind of cereal that has a little hole in the middle, they can pick those up and eat them themselves. Peanut butter is great, but you need to have something to go with it. A cracker, a piece of bread, peanut butter on a spoon. I have read about children getting strangled on that. So that is definitely something you want to use in moderation, and not just by itself. You want to have some other substance to it as far as bread or crackers. So I hope these are just some simple and basic ideas that you can start thinking around your house and say, hey, I have that in my kitchen, I have that in my closet, I have that in my bedroom, and you can go ahead and make you a bag. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd like to say thanks so much to the Varnell Community Center. Hope you love the ideas, and I will see you next time on Cooking and Crafts.
To advertise your business on TV, contact Elliott Media at 706-529-4237.